Hello everybody, my name is Roy Johnson and here to give a quick little vlog reaction thing to something I've watched. I'm talking about a trailer. I usually don't talk about trailers too much, but I feel like this was something interesting to talk about. It's kind of related to gaming, so I guess it's kind of related to my channel, but still I think it'll be something you'll be interested in. Today I'm be talking about the Good Game trailer. This is a recent YouTube Red series starring Grumps, who I'm a casual fan of. I used to be really big into these guys during their early days, but now I've kind of lost track of them. I still watch their videos from time to time, they're still funny, but that's not the point. We're talking about the YouTube Red trailer. I thought it was interesting, because when you hear YouTube Red and you've seen the plenty of shows they've produced, it's not been the best of quality. Most of it's been pretty cringe, and because there are several reasons why. Mostly it's just like it's like Netflix exclusives almost, but with lesser quality. They hire less qualified people to work on these films and TV shows, and the starting point, the attraction point is like YouTubers who most of the time aren't charismatic actors or stuff like that, so most of the time is cringe, and even if you're a big fan of the YouTuber featured, you're probably not going to be a big fan of that YouTube Red exclusive content, because it's usually very different from what the YouTuber does on their channel, for instance. But that said, the Good Game trailer is interesting for many reasons. The main one, looking at the trailer, is I didn't feel that much cringe with it. I know it's a rarity with YouTube Red. I didn't cringe too much with it. And I think the reason is, two main factors. Dan Harmon, who's working on the show, he's an executive producer. I'm not sure if he writes or anything like that, but he does have a hand in the show, and unlike other creators, Dan Harmon is, I like his work. If you're not sure who Dan Harmon is, he works on Community and Rick and Morty. Those are two of his biggest shows, especially Rick and Morty right now. I like his style of humor. It's very meta-based. There's a almost nihilistic tone to it, and it can make for great comedy. Looking at this trailer, there's definitely hints of that meta humor, jokes like how esports are just inherently unrelatable to most people, and the Rocky joke that closes off the trailer. Those were moments that I definitely could see from a Community episode, and I feel like if that humor is there, this has the potential of being good. I haven't seen the first episode yet, so I'm not sure. I think there's one free episode that you can see without a YouTube Red account. I might check it out and maybe give a reaction, but I'm not sure. So there's that. So some of the humor, I got some chuckles. I didn't laugh per se, but I got some chuckles in there, so I think there's potential. The second part is the main draws of the channel, which is Danny and Aaron, who, compared to other YouTubers they've featured, these guys are generally more charismatic. Like, I don't know if they've had a lot of acting experience per se, but in general, when you look at Grumps and the stuff that Danny and Aaron have done, you could tell they're different from most YouTubers who have signed on to YouTube Red projects. So I think there's a potential that they can give some good performances compared to how most YouTubers just kind of phone it in when it comes to these projects. Looking at the trailer, you can kind of tell they're trying harder. I've heard they've actually taken acting classes to not suck so bad. I'm gonna have to watch an actual episode to determine how good their acting is, but so far they've got a decent comedy chops. I think some of the jokes actually do feel like they came straight out of like a Ninja Sex Farty video or a Grumps video, like the micro penis joke. I know it's about esports, and I know they're kind of doing like a King of Kong thing. They even reference it in the title, like the underdog story, I guess. All I know about the show is that it stars Grumps, features Dan Harmon as on the production side, and it's about esports. Honestly, the trailer didn't give too much away, just generally what the comedy is going to be about. Compared to other YouTube Red shows, this one I'm casually interested in. I'm actually interested to see how it goes and develops. I think it's already out already. Yeah, it is out. So maybe I'll watch the first episode and just see how it just in general works. Actually, looking up the page, it turns out Jesse Cox is the creator technically. It was his idea apparently, and that's interesting. I didn't know that. So yeah, I'm casually interested, especially when compared to other YouTube Red trailers I've seen. I will admit, I was hesitant when I first heard about the series though, for many reasons, even hearing about the Dan Harmon connection. I know Dan Harmon is actually friends with the Grumps guys. They've done a Grumpcade, or was it a guest Grumps with Dan Harmon. They played Cat in the Hat, and Aaron Hansen has actually appeared in a Rick and Morty episode. So I know they've had that connection, and I'm not sure if how much of a producer or how much hand Dan Harmon has on this series, because he's an executive producer, but that can literally mean anything. There are so many I'm looking up the Wikipedia page. There are so many executive producers, so it could just be another failed YouTube Red project, but I think there is some potential. That said, one of my issues is that the humor, you know, I mentioned it incorporates Dan Harmon's self-aware meta humor that he's done a lot in Community and Rick and Morty. And for the most part, it works in like Rick and Morty, but with Community, like as the show went on, like the meta humor started to just eat up at like the show, to the point where by season 6, which I think was just one of the unfunniest seasons like ever, I think one of the unfunniest pieces of television I've ever seen. I don't think I've rarely, if ever, laughed throughout that show during the 6th season. It was just nothing but meta humor that didn't even make sense. Like Abed, which is referencing, oh, this is like the 6th season episode of the season, without any other context than it just breaks the fourth wall. I'm afraid that Good Game, like, I'm not sure who's writing it, but I feel like either Dan Harmon has a say in the writing, because there are some Dan Harmon style jokes, but they could be the writers are just trying to emulate Dan Harmon's style, and we'll see whether it works or not, because on one hand it could be as funny and clever as Rick and Morty, on the other hand it could just be just painfully meta, but no substance in terms of other sources of comedy. So, we'll see what happens. I've been ranting and rambling on long enough. Might not even post this video, but if I do, that's just my thoughts, just watching the trailer. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this type of video. This has been Roy Johnson signing out. Adios, muchachos.